Hello everyone, this is Nitpicking Nerd, and this is my reaction to the new trailers of the new Star Trek shows. We have Season 3 of Picard, we have Season 5 of Discovery, and Season 2 of Prodigy. So I'll start from the least interesting to the most interesting. So I think Prodigy is visually quite good for a cartoon. I remember enjoying it visually, but honestly I barely remember anything from the stories, and so that's a problem in that show, that it's not really that interesting story-wise. I'm not really excited about it in any way, even though Janeway is there, but that's not really enough to make it interesting. And Star Trek Discovery still looks like an STD. It's all about the action, the explosions, the excitement, running around, riding on space bikes for some reason. And that's it. We don't even get any hint of any kind of story at all. It's all style over substance as usual, so I'm not really excited about that. And why is Book not in jail after what he did in the previous season when he betrayed the entire Federation, the entire galaxy, tried to detonate a weapon of mass destruction, tried to commit genocide against an alien species that he knew nothing about, almost starting a galactic war, and attacking Starfleet ships, and after all of that he gets a slap on the wrist, got some community service hours, and that's it, and now he's totally free, and he's with them, and everyone forgave him as if nothing ever happened. So that's ridiculous. I'm not excited about that show. Nothing in that trailer made me interested at all. It all looks ridiculous. As for Star Trek Picard, I have a lot of mixed feelings because I think Season 2 of Picard was even worse than Discovery. It was so stupid in so many ways, so illogical, even though it did have some good moments and there were a few good episodes in the beginning of that season. So it's not all bad, but there was still so much stupid things in it, and a lot of it felt so lazy, so cheap, that it's terrible even visually, unlike Discovery, which is at least expensive visually. At least you can enjoy the special effects, but Picard didn't even have that for most of the time. So I think Season 2 of Picard was even worse. The only thing that kind of gave me hope that maybe Season 3 will be different is the fact that Robert Burnett, who was also a big critic of all the recent Star Trek shows, often saying exactly the same things as I am about the new shows and all the problems in them, he says that he watched Season 3 of Picard because he's friendly with the producer, who showed him parts of Season 3, and he says it's a completely different show and it's finally what it should have been from the beginning. And I kind of trust that guy. I don't think he was just paid off to say that and all of that. I don't think that's the case. I do think he believes what he says, and so that gives me hope that maybe they finally did it the right way. They brought back most of the TNG cast, which for some reason Patrick Stewart didn't want to do from the beginning. He wanted the show to be all about him and a new crew for some reason, and now they brought them all back except for Data, because for some reason they decided to kill him off in the end of Season 1, even though they had the perfect way to bring him back, but apparently decided to bring him back just to kill him off one more time. So it will be ridiculous if they bring him back again. But apparently Brent Spiner is going to be in the season as his evil twin brother Lore, which is what we the fans have been asking for. We kept asking, where is Lore? How come they never mentioned Lore? Why not bring Lore back? And so they finally did that, so I cannot complain about that. It is kind of annoying how they revealed all of those villains in the trailer, because I think it would have been much more exciting to have it as a surprise in the show itself, but I guess they were worried we simply wouldn't watch the show anymore after the terrible previous seasons, so that's why they revealed all their cards right away, hopefully not all of them. We also see Moriarty coming back, which is something that I personally have been waiting for about 30 years or something. I remember I used to write fanfiction about how he should come back, and when I was making TNG edits in some of them, I also brought him back as if he comes back pissed off over the fact that they locked him in the holodeck for decades, and so now he's out for revenge and all of that. So I myself was making fanfiction about that and edits of that for many years, and so that is something I was waiting for, so I cannot pretend that I'm not excited about that. But they better do it properly. They better have a pretty good story to justify that, and not just have it as a quick member berry. It better not just be like one scene or a quick reference or just one conversation with him. It better have some significance, otherwise it will just annoy me that they wasted the opportunity. I am very glad that the actor is still alive and still recognizable and still acting, and so I am slightly excited about that. I think that's probably my favorite part of the trailer, because that's kind of the only thing I'm interested in. All the other stuff might turn out to be great. I hope it will be, but I'm really skeptical. And even lore is not really that exciting for me anymore, because maybe it's because Brent Spiner has been playing all these different villains in the previous season as well, like his own human ancestor, and they always look the same in any generation for hundreds of years and all of that ridiculous stuff. And also his acting wasn't really that good in season 2 when he played the ancestor of Sung in a really cheesy one-dimensional way, so I kind of lost some respect for him as an actor even, and so that's maybe why I'm not really that excited about lore. And again, it better not just be some quick reference or just one episode. It better have some meaning to it. It better have some good story, and not what they did with that they just brought him back for one good scene and then killed him off again. So it better not be something like that, and especially with Moriarty, I'm kind of hoping they will do something really interesting with him, because the potential is there for something awesome. But my worry is that it's just a member berry, that it's just a quick, oh, remember that guy, here's a scene with him, now you're happy, now he can go away, now we'll kill him off, let's delete him right away, and that's it. So it better not be something like that. Now, we only see these glimpses of Moriarty and lore in the very end of the trailer, almost as if it was a second thought to insert them in, because maybe someone thought the rest of the trailer wasn't good enough to draw us in, because they constantly show us this woman villain who is completely unknown. She was never in Star Trek before. I gave it some thought and I have no guesses as to who she might be from the history of Star Trek, so it's probably a brand new character. And she looks kind of goofy. It's like a female Dr. Evil. She's just so evil for no reason, and she's kind of laughing as she's shooting at the Enterprise, and there's some similarity to Khan from Star Trek 2, as she's hunting the Enterprise through some dark nebula, and they seem like a crew of criminals or something. And this lady seems like an over-the-top villain. She has the Hitler haircut, kind of reminds me of Zorg from Fifth Element, and she's kind of goofing around too much, and so it has the potential to be terrible, but I guess it might be funny if they do it humoristically. I might be okay with that, just as I like Dr. Evil, because it's kind of a parody of the arch villain from all kinds of different movies and shows, and they're poking fun at all the usual things they do and all of that, so I guess it can work. But if they're going for a scary and intimidating villain, and yet she's so goofy and all of that, I'm not sure it will work. And why not bring someone with some previous connection to the crew? Why couldn't it be Scylla from TNG? You know, that would have been more interesting, because she has some personal connection with the crew of the Enterprise, and she was a Romulan commander, and so they could tie it with all that plot about the Romulans being angry that Starfleet didn't save enough of them or something. So they could have tied it all together and brought back yet another cast member from the old TNG crew in the form of Tasha's daughter. I think it would have been more interesting and more satisfying, so it's kind of disappointing that they chose to bring in an unknown villain who seems to be a female version of Khan with a little bit of a Zorg from Fifth Element, with all kind of goofy, silly traits. It might work out, it might be great. The actress is great, she's the one who played Honey Bunny in Pulp Fiction, so maybe she can pull it off. Maybe it will be something memorable, something original and fresh. Maybe it's not a bad idea. I guess we'll wait and see. But I am feeling it was a missed opportunity, because it could have been Scylla and it would have been much more interesting. And I always enjoy when they tie up loose ends. That's why I am glad they bring back Moriarty and lore. I'm just hoping they'll do it well and not mess it up, and not just have it as a quick member berry and reference, but instead they will do something interesting with them, hopefully. And that's really the only really interesting parts of the trailer. That's why they kind of brought it in the very end as an afterthought, because they realized the rest of the trailer isn't really that exciting, that interesting to all Trekkies, and they have to lure them back in with something more. And so that's why they revealed something which probably would have been better if they kept secret, and it would surprise us as we were watching the show, to suddenly see Brent Spiner and then realize it's lore, or see Moriarty again somehow. So it could have been much more exciting if it was a surprise, and they kind of ruined that. On the other hand, it does make us more excited about the new season. So I, for one, am hoping that Robert Burnett is correct, that maybe this season will be much better. It will be a completely different show. It will be what it should have been from the beginning, all of that. I am hoping that is the case. But I am still kind of worried, and also it annoys me that they will leave all those things they set up in the previous seasons completely hanging without any explanation or resolution. Like those robot tentacles from the end of season 1. We never will find out what the hell are those things and what happens with that, or who fired that space laser in the end of season 2. that almost destroyed the entire quadrant, will it not ever be resolved or explained or dealt with in any way? That will annoy me even more. So even though those ideas were kind of silly, but I do wish they would kind of address that and resolve that somehow and not just leave it a mystery, because I don't enjoy loose ends as it seems like they're doing, because now it's all new villains. But at least they are bringing back Lore and Moriarty from TNG, and you know, Moriarty's story was kind of over. I would have been okay if it was never continued. And I wonder, will Lore and Moriarty be on the same side, since they are both artificial intelligence with some megalomaniac tendencies? Will they end up being locked up in the Daystrom Institute along with Agamos and Peanut Hamper and all those other evil computers, I wonder? So I guess they will not do that. I don't think they will tie it all to Lower Decks, even though that could have been funny. I remember suggesting it would have been interesting to see Lore's head in one of those cells along with those other evil computers, and maybe they could have shown that holographic box with Moriarty in it also in one of those cells. That also would have been a nice touch. So I guess we'll wait and see how they bring them back. I guess Reginald Barclay did a lousy job of protecting that holo cube, and someone just stole it, or Moriarty found some way to hack something on the outside and to get himself out of there. Maybe he's wearing a mobile emitter, or he found himself a synthetic body or something. I guess we'll wait and see. So that's really the most exciting thing about this trailer, bringing back these villains from TNG who were excellent. I am disappointed that Scylla is not in the show. I guess maybe there will be a surprise like that. Maybe she will be somewhere in there. So I guess we'll wait and see. I am hoping for it to be good. I do think it's possible. We do have some beautiful shots of what looks like the next Enterprise. And seeing the TNG crew back together is a good thing. And apparently Geordi has a daughter now, which is a nice idea because he, you know, never got laid in TNG. So it's nice knowing that eventually he did get married at some point. And seeing Worf again is fun and interesting because he says something about being a pacifist now, which is kind of funny. Maybe it's all played for laughs, maybe it's some kind of a joke, so we'll wait and see. The only thing I don't like about him is that they made his hair look too white. And we know that Klingons don't age the same as humans because we saw some Klingons from TOS who appeared in Deep Space Nine a century later. And they were older but not super old, and even they didn't have fully grey hair. But I did like how he kicks Raffi's ass, because that's something I wanted to happen every time I watched her on screen, because she's such an annoying character. So seeing Worf put her in her place and knocking her out is excellent. And also he says something that she's like what he used to be like, and that's an interesting point. You know, now that I think about it, I think she should have been a Klingon from the start. I think that would have explained her behavior, that, you know, she's from a warrior culture of violent barbarians and all of that, and that's how she behaves like. So that would have made perfect sense. So she should have been a Klingon right from the start, and that would have explained her attitude, which is kind of similar to the early TNG Worf, who was always so aggressive he can barely contain himself and all of that. So seeing Worf kind of berate her and putting her in her place is a great moment. So maybe there is some hope for season 3. I am hoping they will pull it off correctly. So that's all I had to say about it for now. Let me know what you think and we can discuss it in the comments below. And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.